A cross starts to shake and then falls, and then Nancy starts to get dragged around by her hair like they're being haunted by a fucking caveman. The dad and Ed dive on Nancy. Lorraine grabs a pair of scissors, and the ghost inexplicably pauses for no reason at all, and Lorraine cuts Nancy's hair, freeing her from the grip of the ghost. How did she know that would work? She's lucky it didn't grab the scissors from her. And if the ghost is that strong, why doesn't it just start throwing people out of the house? Just force them out of your house, if that's what you want. It cuts to the next scene, as if it's the next thing happening. And I don't think that it is. It looks like it's the next day. But the dad pushes the screen door open like he's mad. And he's walking Nancy out, and she still looks shaken up. Everyone is suddenly rushing to leave now. Ed is following them, trying to explain what's going to happen.
We'll have the footage developed and get it over to Father Gordon. He's our liaison to the church.
The dad appears to be blowing him off. Doesn't give a fuck. But then Ed says, "Listen, Roger." And the dad forgets his traumatized daughter so fast.
Listen, Roger. Yeah. Listen, we'll get...
So then we see Lorraine is sitting in the van, and she hears the voice of her daughter, Judy, say, "Mommy." She gets up and walks away from everyone without saying anything, and no one notices. She makes it all the way to the creepy tree in the backyard, and then she hears Mommy again, and it's coming from the creepy dock. And because there's no reason to think that it might be dangerous, she decides to just walk to the end of the dock, totally alone, without telling anyone anything. She sees Judy floating by, just underneath the surface of the water, where a person couldn't be, and I guess she thinks it's actually Judy, because Lorraine reaches into the water to grab her, but she ripples away with the water. She thinks this is her daughter talking to her, clear as day, from underneath water, across a backyard and a front yard. So Lorraine is tripping balls. She runs inside to call her mom and check on Judy. Judy is fine. So then it shows us the family pulling up to a motel, and the mom stays in the car weirdly. The next scene is the Warrens at the church, and they're showing the footage they got to Father Gordon. Instead of, everybody, every news media outlet in the world. And Father Gordon is shook by this footage, like he's trying to catch his breath. Even though he's just been sitting there watching this footage, that is not very scary and could probably easily be faked, but he's clearly disturbed and surely convinced. But Father Gordon says, "Look, Ed, this is complicated because the kids aren't baptized and the family, they're not members of the church." Ed says, "Oh, come on."
The family, they're not members of the church.
Oh, come on.
Which would have made me laugh if I was there. Then Father Gordon says, "And the approval would have to come directly from the Vatican." Ed says, "Father, we've never seen anything like this."
Yeah, well, neither have I.
Really? Annabelle? The guy that was speaking Latin backwards? There's nothing special about the pictures. And haven't they done exorcisms, these people? Ed says to Father Gordon. They don't have a lot of time. How does he know? And then Father Gordon says, "All right, I'll push it through myself." And the Warrens are like, "Thank you, thank you."
I'll push it through myself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who else was going to do it? Weren't they expecting him to take care of it himself? Was he going to hand it off to somebody else to bring to the Vatican? And then Ed says, "We'll wait for your call." No shit. What else are you going to do? You can't do exorcisms. So the Warren's daughter, Judy, is asleep in her bed. Her locket is hanging next to her bed, and it starts to sway and then spin around in circles. We see Lorraine's locket back at the haunted house, and it's doing the same thing. Suddenly, Judy gets her feet tugged just like the other girl was. Judy wakes up, and she starts walking around, looking for her mom and dad. We see her grandma. Why doesn't she wake up her grandma? She walks downstairs, she finds the door to the haunted museum thing open. The camera pans to the Annabelle case, and it's empty. Such bullshit. So Judy goes to walk back up the stairs, and the light at the top of the stairs turns off. And the darkness starts to come towards her. Like just darkness. It's actually really well done. They should have done this way more. Okay, so the darkness is coming down the stairs towards Judy, and she runs and hides in some room. She closes the door. There's a loud pounding at the door, and then the lights dim. She turns around, and there's an old woman rocking in a rocking chair and brushing Annabelle's hair. Annabelle turns and looks at Judy. And this part's supposed to be creepy, but it got ruined for me by this video clip.
Hi, welcome to Chili's.
Also, this is what the real Annabelle looks like, if we haven't talked about that yet. Judy turns around, starts pounding on the door and screaming for Nana.
Judy?
Nana wakes up, but she can't get the door open. We see the rocking chair again, still rocking, but now nobody's in it. I guess that's supposed to be more scary, that nobody's in it now. Wasn't it scary before? Judy yells Mom, and Lorraine hears it.
Ed, there's something wrong.
Because she's a clairvoyant or whatever. Just as they're pulling into their driveway, so that's lucky. Ed and Lorraine run in. They hear Judy screaming. They see Nana trying to open the door. They try to open the door. They can't get it open either. The rocking chair turns towards Judy. Ed gets the door open somehow and grabs Judy and pulls her out of the way, just as the chair flies across the room and smashes into pieces against the wall, right where Judy was standing. Judy tells them there was something rocking in the chair with Annabelle. So Ed goes and checks the museum, and Annabelle's still in her case. Lorraine tells Judy, it's okay, it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
And it's not okay. Their phone is ringing. Ed picks up. It's Roger, and he tells them that Carolyn took 2 of the kids and she smells like rotten meat. Ed says to Roger, get to the house. I'll meet you there. So then Ed tries to leave, and Lorraine says, I'm coming with you. Ed says, no way. You stay here with Judy. Lorraine says, the only way to protect Judy is to stop this thing where it started. Otherwise, she's just going to latch on to us again. This movie doesn't even know what the fuck it's talking about. Them showing up is the only thing that saved Judy. At least one of them needs to be there for their daughter. And it didn't get to their house before they got there because it latched onto them. It traveled through the lockets somehow. The necklaces, and that never comes up again. And then we get this exchange of vacuous movie script dialogue. Lorraine says, you think I'm gonna let you walk into this alone? Ed says, I can't lose you. And then Lorraine says,
You won't. Let's finish this together.
so then they leave. They're driving to the house. Their poor daughter just had a traumatic experience. Her parents showed up for 5 seconds, told her it was okay, and then they fucking leave. They leave. They leave her at home with her Nana who couldn't help her, and the fucking doll, Annabelle, still. She lives in the same house. So they drive to the haunted house. Doofy's leading the way. Sirens blaring. They get to the house. Ed and Lorraine run up to the door, but it's locked.
It's locked.
Doofy says, get out of the way. And he cocks a shotgun.
Get out of the way!
Following scene is a mess. So they run into the cellar, and Roger, a grown man, he's holding Carolyn by her right arm, and she's got a pair of scissors in her hands. Drew, also a grown man, he's holding her by her left arm, where she's holding Christine in a chokehold. Doofy actually thinks to grab the scissors away from her hands, and he does it in like 2 seconds. Ed joins Drew, and they get Christine free. And at this moment, April gets scared, and she runs and hides. But why now? Like, help just arrived. A cop is here now. Other people that you know. They got your sister free. They got the scissors away. Things are looking up. Why would she run away now? Ed, talking about Carolyn, says, we gotta get her to the car. Doofy says, and bring her where?
We gotta get her to the car! Bring her where?
The cop just said, and bring her where? After witnessing an attempted murder and prying the would-be murder weapon out of her hand. Where the fuck do you think you need to take her? Take her to jail. At least put her in handcuffs. Mace her. But that's not what Ed was talking about. Ed says, take her to the priest for an exorcism. So Ed has her left arm. Roger has her right arm. Doofy grabs her feet. They're gonna carry her up the stairs. She's putting up a fight, kind of, but now she just has like normal strength, not demon strength anymore. So they get to the top of the stairs. Doofy isn't even holding her by the feet anymore. Roger's just kind of holding her hand at this point. So they get to the doorway, and Carolyn starts burning. Lorraine says the witch won't let Carolyn leave the house. Just then, Carolyn gets pulled out of their hands and flies back onto the floor. She yells Roger, and then she gets dragged down the stairs. So back into the cellar. Roger and Ed are fighting Carolyn. She's beating their asses. Doofy just stands there watching until Ed yells at him to help. So Doofy grabs her, but she bites his face. And he acts like he's being electrocuted or something. His eyes roll up in his head and he yells as he turns away from her slowly. Lorraine easily subdues her with a blanket. I guess sheets have some weird power over ghosts. And I never caught on to that connection before. Lorraine slides a chair over, and then Ed tells Lorraine, get something to tie her up. I think she knows what the plan is. She's the one sliding the chair over. I'm sure the next thing she was going to do was fucking grab something to tie her up. She throws Ed to the floor, but just then Doofy pops in and handcuffs her hand to the chair. And then he's just done. He just backs away. Ed says, I gotta call Father Gordon. Lorraine says, he's too far away. She won't make it. Look at her.
I gotta call Father Gordon. We gotta get Father Gordon out here.
He's too far away. She won't make it. Look at her.
I don't know, maybe call him anyway. Let him know what's going on. See if he has any ideas. Maybe he knows somebody in the area. So Ed looks at Carolyn wriggling under the sheet, and he has a look on his face like, yeah, you're right. She ain't gonna make it. There's no time. But he can't see her. He can't see her. There's a sheet over her. So Ed says to Lorraine, then you need to leave. Which is not a good idea. Because Lorraine is the only one that knows what's going on at any moment, and the only one that knows what to do at any moment. Lorraine says, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
I have to do it. The exorcism.
Roger stands up. He says, I thought you said we need a priest. You're not a priest, which is a great point. Right? Ed says...
Well, you got a better idea.
Which isn't the best counterpoint, but I guess. Ed says to Lorraine again, you gotta leave. She says, I'm not leaving you. He says, I'm not doing this with you here. And then Lorraine says,
God brought us together for a reason. This is it.
and don't you just fucking hate that? He said that to her one time, and it was probably just to be romantic, right? Like it was their wedding night. And he said to his new wife, God brought us together for a reason. And she locked that one away, boy.
And now you're all gonna die.
I don't understand why people believe this shit, where the ghost or spirit or demon or whatever decides to engage, decides to attack somebody, and it's just a singular gesture of violence. It does whatever it's going to do to try to hurt somebody. They get out of the way, or they get saved, and then it just stops. Why would it stop?